Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Thanks so much for joining us, and very glad to have with me three people who make a difference in our community. They've done it for a long time. Unfortunately, they've been friends for a long time as well. First, Ms. Tanya Harris. Tanya, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Keith. Great to be here.
All right, and Tanya, of course, the president of Community Action Network. Sitting next to her, the secretary of Community Action Network, Ms. Monique Clark. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Keith. Happy to be here.
All right. Sitting next to her, Ms. Katie Kale, the Community Outreach Coordinator with Terrebonne Parish Library. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. And so, Tanya, people ask all the time. They want to find out who you are and what you do and what you've been doing lately. And so for the last few years, 3 years, in fact, you've been really involved with this Community Action Network. Let's let the people know what that is and how you're involved with the community.
Absolutely, Keith. We have been working hard. So we are a group of influential, very impactful women who have a sincere desire to make a difference in their community. So our goal, Keith, is to change the dynamics of how women support and impact their communities. So we're doing it through some different programming, and really excited to be here where we are now.
And being able to partner with different organizations is always nice to hear. But how is it that y'all came to do this during COVID? How did it come up during COVID that y'all were able to find a way and begin to impact the community at such a trying time?
Oh, we've been very creative. So we knew that we knew that there was work to be done. We knew that we had a job. So we've been really creative. Keith, no one wants to do this work by themselves. So we've been really strategic and really creative in reaching out to our community partners and partnering with them so that we can get the job done.
Okay, very good. So Ms. Monique, I know you're the secretary. Let's tell us a little bit about your involvement and how you feel about working with the Community Action Network.
I love the Community Action Network. Even though I serve as a secretary on the board,
right.
I'm also a co-chair of two different committees that we have, Embracing the Arts Committee, as well as our Foreign Outreach Committee.
Oh, okay, very good. And so those are just some of the unique ways that y'all find a way to help other people, right?
Correct, and that's two of the 5 committees that we have. We have a community needs, we also have a health committee, we have a fostering our youth committee as well. So we try to cover a number of genres that can impact our communities in different ways.
Wow. How often do you guys get together and kind of coordinate and meet? How often do y'all do that?
Typically, we'll meet once a month as a general body, and then
Right.
others on our executive board will also meet once a month as well.
Right. And then I know your committees, all your different committees are working
Right.
really hard all the time. Feel
Diligently.
like y'all see each other every day. But one of the ways that y'all do that with the arts, I think, is probably partnering with some of the people that we have here with the library, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Let's talk about Storywalk a little bit and kind of the inception of it and maybe how it came to be. Tell us a little bit about that, Katie.
Well, in 2020, back to COVID, we were sitting around and we were trying to come up with some new ideas on how we could still effectively serve the community and promote literacy even when they couldn't come in the buildings. And the Storywalks were born out of that. Storywalk is actually a trademarked product from Montpelier. There's a librarian there, Ann Ferguson, who invented the idea. And she just provides kits to any library that's willing to try this free of charge. And so basically what a Storywalk is you take a book and we deconstruct it, which is a fancy way of saying I have to cut up the book. Which the first
Some
time I did
people in
it,
high school do that anyway.
yeah,
Okay.
it was a little bit daunting the first time I did it. We
Right.
take the book, we deconstruct it, we take the pages and we heavy laminate them so they're protected from the weather, and then we attach them to boards and place them along a walking path. So as you're walking the path, as you're reading the book, so when you've done a whole path, you've read a whole book. And so we're still promoting literacy outside the buildings while also promoting healthy lifestyle. It became so popular that we just never stopped doing it. We just kept making more and more of them. We have schools and other organizations that check them out. And so, of course, when the network contacted me, I was like, oh, give me a day. I can do this.
Right, right. And so, again, the partnering of that, what a wonderful idea, by the way. And again, through our library systems, and just so you know, at the Terrebonne Parish Library, the main library, 3,000 events a year.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
Like I was doing the math. There are 10 things going on all the time at the library. And I'm very, very fortunate here as a social worker that I host several support groups there, and they're very involved. We do all of our NASW social worker events there, and they just provide a lot of what our community needs. And I love the partnering from Community Action Network and saying, this is what we want to do. These are the books that we want to deconstruct, right? And be able to kind of put out there. And so it's such a wonderful perspective to be able to help people continue to learn in some of those ways that we have to think outside the box or think outside the building.
Right.
Yeah?
You
And
know,
so
Keith,
it's
I
just
go
really
to the
cool.
library all the time, and you know what I say to myself just a few weeks ago to Katie, this is more than just books. The library is so much more than just books.
That's actually our philosophy, that we are bigger than a building and we're more than books. The books are important.
No, they matter. They
Books
matter.
are important, but it's about access. And providing access to the community means that we need to go to them, not always them coming to us.
Right. And again, some of those programs that really make a difference are pretty unique. This is another one of those. Jen, let's put the flyer up because I want to tease it for next segment. I want people to know that when we come back from this short break, we're going to be talking about the Community Action Network to Let's Go on a Story Walk. So we want to be able to pack up the kids and meet us at the library at Terrebonne Parish Courthouse. Sponsored through and with the library for the Story Walk. And so we're going to tell you a whole lot more about that. It's an opportunity that people can take advantage of kind of all month long as we celebrate Black History Month and also celebrate our community. So Jen, put that flyer back up there because I want people to know that there are 2 books that they can kind of do this story walk on. And so you can go on a story walk. They're going to be read, both of those books, at an event on Saturday, February 11th from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. The 2 books are one by Barack Obama, Of Thee I Sing, a book that he wrote for letters to his daughters about teaching them things that they needed to know, and more importantly, some life lessons they need to know. And the other is LeBron James' I Promise. And so I promise you that the people on this desk know a whole lot more about these programs than I do. And so let's talk a little bit, Monique, about why these 2 books.
Right. So because it's Black History Month, we wanted to focus on Black authors and expose people to what Black authors can bring. And in these particular books, specifically I Promise and Of Thee I Sing by Barack Obama, they're geared toward kids, but they have universal messages that can apply across the board. So with I Promise, LeBron James, with his philanthropy, started the school where he was from, and it's an I Promise school. So basically every day, the young people that are part of the school will repeat this mantra. So this particular book just encompasses the values and the core that they want to instill in those students that can just go across the board universally and apply.
And it's really unique because it's a way that challenges kids.
Correct.
It's a way that says, here's something you're going to make a commitment to, and now you're saying it out loud.
Right.
Which is really important.
Exactly.
It's the most valuable thing that we can teach kids, that when they say it out loud, it becomes something very real.
That's very
and
true.
then they can be held accountable
Right,
with that.
right.
So I Promise is one. Of Thee I Sing, let's talk about it a
Yeah,
little bit.
so that one's written by former President Barack Obama.
Right.
And it's looking at different individuals that have made an impact to America and made contributions. So it's putting on a new level, not only from an African American standpoint, but also others that have contributed to this great country that we have.
I love it. And so when we challenge people to go on a story walk, Katie, tell us a little bit about how we have 2 books and people going on one story walk.
It's actually 2.
Right.
So we currently, because the network provided us with 2 different stories, we're able to have 2 walks simultaneously going on. Currently at the courthouse, they have I Promise by James LeBlanc. And the Of Thee I Sing is at the main library that's near the Civic Center. It's in our community garden.
Right.
If you pull up into the front of the main library and look to the right, you'll see our beautiful garden and you'll see all the signs. So they will both be up all month long, but halfway through the month on the 15th, we're going to swap the books
Okay.
so that they'll each take a turn at the different locations.
Okay. So LeBron James and his book, I Promise, will switch on the 11th.
On the 15th.
On the 15th, middle
the
of the month, on the
15th,
15th.
yes.
And Of Thee I Sing will become where it is now. But for the story walk itself, that's going to take place outside at the courthouse.
It will be a guided story walk. So the best thing about story walks is that you can do it whenever you want. You don't need a librarian there to do story time, but we will have a library worker there on the 11th to do a guided story walk.
So it's a guided story walk
Yeah.
there, which is always fun to do. I mean, one of the things that I enjoy doing when I travel, especially traveling to different universal sites with history, American history, Louisiana history, I love the guided tours. Like, that's just the coolest thing to me, is to kind of hear somebody's perspective about that, who maybe I can learn something from. So it's these kinds of events that you guys feel really excited about with Community Action Network, right, Tanya?
Absolutely. We know that this is going to be an impact to our community, both to our families and to, just to people that come out and see the great work that we're doing, Keith. With this particular program Target, Embracing the Arts, it has a laser focus on making sure that kids get the opportunity to see things that they wouldn't ordinarily see. So, what more fun is it than to go out into the courthouse or go to the library and have a great time reading a book and getting some steps in as well.
Right. And it's outside.
Yes.
Both of these are outside. This
Yes.
event on the 11th is outside. Listen, there's still a lot of people that are concerned about making sure that we're being careful to keep our distance, and so we realize, we see it at the library a lot, that there's a lot of grandparents who are raising children. There's a lot of great-grandparents raising children, and so this is a way for them to really come out and be outside, and the kids can learn something. And the other thing that they get to do is they get to talk about it afterwards.
Yes.
It's a community gathering.
Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Imagine, this is me, this is what I'm thinking. So the people that go to do this, one goes and here's this program, and they go out and say, Mom, I want to go. This is in the garden at the library. I want to go see this. I want to go check it out. And then they go and they see it, then they talk to some of their friends. And then their friends want to go do it. Then their friends go do it, and all of a sudden, they tell two friends, and they tell two friends. And so it becomes this really important, powerful piece in our community. And then they can all go and do the guided Storywalk tour. For those books. And so
They've
it's
made it
exciting.
really fun. Monique, you want to share, there's going to be music, games, and entertainment. Tell them a little bit more about
On the
Sure.
11th?
On the
Yeah.
11th.
Okay.
So that's our formal kickoff. We're going to
Okay.
be in the gazebo.
Oh.
We'll actually read the books and have refreshments. We're going to have coloring sheets, stickers. So just make it something fun and enjoyable for kids and the parents too as well.
Yeah, and again, celebrating what that gazebo is, bringing back that piece of history back to downtown Houma, and there's a way to do it. So, Jen, let's put that up for a final time. The Story Walk is going to take place on Saturday, February 11th, right there in front of the Terrebonne Parish Courthouse, where you can go and see and be a part of this event. The book by LeBron James, I Promise, the book by Barack Obama of Thee I Sing, celebrating Black History Month here in February. You can come out and do that, get some refreshments, learn something, and let the kids be able to talk something about it. And so I appreciate it. Ms. Tanya, Ms. Monique, Ms. Katie, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Bayou Time.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate it.
having us.
Thank you.
All
Our
right.
pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And that will do it for this particular edition of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.